This is Daniel Poppy, host of How to Write Good. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media.
How's it going, everybody? This is Keith.
And Katie, host of Coffee with Keith and Katie, here on Public House Media.
Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media. When you're done here, I hope you'll check out our show, Coffee with Keith and Katie,
where we talk about our lives and relationship over a cup of coffee.
A new episode airs on Facebook Live every Monday and Thursday at 7:30 p.m. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you'll never miss an episode of Coffee with Keith and Katie.
Thanks again for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
Smile Brilliant believes everyone deserves the chance to have professionally whitened teeth. Thanks to them, I've had the opportunity to whiten my teeth and have seen drastic results over a very short period of time for a lot less money than I'd pay at the dentist. To try out your whitening trays with Smile Brilliant, head to smilebrilliant.com and use the code Tianna for $20 off your order. As your consciousness, refinement, and pureness of heart expands, you will become less judgmental, less corrective, less reactive, less black and white, less critical, less apt to blame, and less tormented by others and their faults and views. Bryant McGill. Welcome to the Refined Redhead Podcast, bringing you real people sharing relevant information about their careers, goals, accomplishments, and passions in a relatable, relaxed forum, all in hopes of inspiring you to courageously chase after your dreams and overcome any obstacles that lie in your way. Follow along and listen with me, your host, Tianna Vanderhei, as we share laughs and life lessons. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first official episode of the Refined Redhead Podcast. I'm your host, Tianna Vanderhei, and I'm so excited that this day has finally arrived. I know I alluded to it last week in the tease that dropped, but this has been in the works for quite some time. In fact, I think we've been talking about launching a podcast for over a year. So yay, we're in this together. The day has finally arrived, and I'm so excited to have a platform to connect with all of you and talk candidly about real life stuff. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe on iTunes and or Google Play, depending on your device, so you get that automatic download every other Tuesday when the show drops and you're able to listen to me and get that notification and gain some insight on life or perhaps whatever topic I'm covering that week in hopes of encouraging you and motivating you to fearlessly chase after your dreams. With that being said, my whole purpose behind starting this podcast was to provide me with an outlet to talk openly and freely with all of you. If you don't know, for the past 2 years, I was a reporter and anchor for a local ABC affiliate, and I love interviewing people. I love sharing their stories, and I think there's great value in gaining perspective from others and knowledge from their experiences, their struggles, and their tribulations, because we learn from one another. When we support one another, we grow stronger as a community, as an entity, as a whole. And my hope is that you gain some of that from listening to the Refined Redhead podcast, that it motivates you and pushes you to be the best version of yourself and ultimately chase after whatever goal you've set out to accomplish. Typically, I'll be interviewing a guest and covering a specific topic that they're specialized in, whether that's their profession or an experience they have under their belt that I find value in, and I think you guys will too. However, I thought, why not take this first initial episode and tell you more about my background and my journey and my struggles, because if there's anything I've learned over the course of the past 2 years being a news reporter and anchor for a local ABC affiliate in La Crosse, and my involvement with the Miss America organization over the years, it's that vulnerability is key. And it's refreshing in today's society where so many people crave the spotlight and utilize filters to no end, that they're edited and over-edited in their posts and their processes in life. And this constant need to highlight perfection. It's nice to see someone real and attainable and down to earth and straightforward we have bad days, we have bad moments. And you know what? Those good times are far and few between. We absolutely need to capitalize on them and embrace them wholeheartedly. But we also need to realize that it's okay to admit when things aren't going our way. It's okay to be open when we're struggling with something and to ask for help, which I struggle with. I'm sure some of you do too. And a big part of refining yourself and growing as an individual, I think, is having the ability to ask others when you need some insight or when you need that support more than you think you do. So who is Tianna Vanderhei? I am originally from Wisconsin Rapids. If you don't know where that is, hold up your right hand and point smack dab to the middle, right in the center of the state. I come from a family of 6. I have 2 younger brothers and an older sister. I grew up playing soccer and basketball. I ran track for a number of years and have danced since I was 4. I still thoroughly enjoy running and try to get a couple miles in every day. I have ran a number of races, including 5 half marathons, which is a passion of mine when I'm not battling shin splints, which I'm struggling with right now, but that's a different story. When I graduated high school, I went on to attend the University of Wisconsin-La Crosse, which is on the west side of the state, actually the Mississippi River's west coast. In case you didn't know that, there's a fun fact for you. And at that point in time, I knew I wanted to pursue a degree in sports medicine and athletic training. That was my calling. I had it all figured out. I was like, yes, smooth sailing. I'm going to school. Everyone is undecided. And I'm like, hey, I know what I'm doing. Right. I can look back at this moment now and laugh because little did I know, a year and a half after that point, I would hit one of the hardest kind of moments thus far in terms of mentally and emotionally struggling with a challenge that was before me. I got into the athletic training program at UW-La Crosse and dove deeper into that coursework. So I had a number of science classes, anatomy classes, and some math ones, which, folks, math is not my strong subject, not my favorite. It was that fall that I realized my grades were slipping, and I'd always been on honors. Schoolwork had come easy to me when I was passionate about it, and something wasn't clicking. In the back of my mind, I always had this notion, what about broadcasting? What about communication? But then you also have the lesser of the two saying, is that a plausible career path? What's the job outlook? Because, you know, as a 19-year-old, I'm thinking about the job market at that point, which was still rebounding, and thinking, am I going to have job security if I'm pursuing this major? Which I also was consistently told, you need to find something with job security. Fall of 2012. I was a sophomore in college. I was going through some emotional struggles with personal relationships and family matters, and I was doing horrible in school. We're talking D's and C's and some failing test scores consistently. I would study to no end. I worked 3 part-time jobs, and I would come home, and I just remember crying, trying to think what I was doing wrong and trying to push myself down this path that internally didn't feel right, but I figured, why not? This is a good career path, Tia. You can do it. I had this pivotal moment, though, as we all do when we're struggling with something. I remember calling my dad and saying, you know, I think I want to change my major to communication. I'm thinking about all this stuff. I've been over-processing it. What do you think? What's your perspective? And he said, you know, if you're asking for my blessing, you have it. You ultimately have to do what you love. You have to find something that you enjoy. And that hit me. That same time, I had recently competed for the Miss La Crosse Oktoberfest pageant, and that is a local preliminary to Miss Wisconsin and Miss America. And it was my 4th pageant I had competed in since being a senior in high school and gaining eligibility into the Miss competition, and I won. And up until that point in time, I questioned why I was meant to go to school at UW-La Crosse, because for years, since I attended my very first Badger basketball game in 5th grade, I wanted to go to UW-Madison. And it was in that moment that things fell into place. The pieces of the puzzle aligned. The people that I met when I was Miss Lacrosse Oktoberfest are still some of the greatest people and relationships that I've fostered throughout my college duration and my time in lacrosse. They're some of the most supportive and endearing people you will ever meet, and selfless for that matter, as they continuously volunteer and give back to the community. And it was those relationships that I gained that showed me what I had. And it was those relationships I gained that helped me realize my calling, that I can do anything I want to do. And yes, that had been stressed to me by my parents. Absolutely. They're very supportive. And by people in my life. But it was that pivotal moment and the defining point where I was struggling with something that I needed those people to lean on. And that kind of pushed me in the right direction. So going back to that phone call with my dad, I said, hey, I'm going to go into my counselor's office tomorrow and I think I'm going to change my major. He said, go for it. And leading up to that point, I felt an obscene amount of stress. And I remember walking out of her office after I changed my major and declared communication with a minor in sports broadcasting. And physically, it felt as though something had just been lifted off my shoulders. This weight that I had been carrying around for far too long was gone. And I couldn't have been happier and more relieved about my decision. My advice to anyone in that similar situation, because let's face it, college is expensive and there's a lot going on and you have this pressure on you to get in and get out, get your schooling done because it is more cost effective if you're focused on your grades and you get your credits in, but it's also difficult amongst that schedule to balance and juggle everything. You feel like you're hopping on one foot, patting your head and rubbing your tummy, or rubbing your stomach and patting your head, whatever it may be. See, that's confusing, right? Thus is life. My advice to anyone in a similar situation to that, because let's face it, college is expensive and it's a struggle to balance. My advice to anyone in that situation, because let's face it, college is expensive and it's a struggle to balance jobs and credits and a social life and extracurricular activities. Like, the life of a college student is not easy. My advice to you is take time to reflect intrinsically and really hone in on who you are and what you want out of life. College is a time to truly discover your values and your beliefs and to be your own person, but it's also a very, very good time to establish relationships and connect with friends, staff members and faculty at the university, and people in the community. And don't take that last part for granted, because you don't just go to college to stay on campus in that confined dorm room or your academic buildings and just go to class and go back and go out and party and have fun. You are a part of a community. No matter where you go to school, you are an active member of that area. And I find it so important that you embrace that you go out into the community, and whether you have a job or you're volunteering, seek out things you like. And also, seek out employment opportunities that could help you in the long run. I'm talking internships or job shadowing opportunities that align with your career path, because you may be like me and you may think you're going into something you love and it'll blindside you and you'll struggle immensely. And that's okay, because you'll come out stronger and God is leading you down the path you're supposed to be on. But if I would have job shadowed someone earlier on in life and really taken the time to talk to them about their job and what their daily basis was like, I probably would have realized at a sooner point in my life that sports medicine was not for me. Don't get me wrong, I am still a very big sports fan. I'm a huge Badger and Packer fan, but I'm very happy with how my path has taken me to where I am today. Those same academic struggles I encountered in college also led me to a new platform within the Miss America organization titled Let's Talk Skill Sets for Success, which I will dive deeper into at another point in time. So you'll have to hold tight to hear more about that. But I'm extremely grateful for that moment. And I look back now and I was in such a low point and was borderline depressed and just sad about a lot of things in my life that I didn't see the greater picture. And now I'm able to reflect on that and gain perspective. And I hope that me sharing that very personal story helps you. Whether you're in college or maybe you're a high school student, you're thinking about graduating, you know what you want to do. I hope you take something away from that. And if you're currently in the workplace and you maybe want to think about changing your job or your career path, really take some time, some you time, and think about what your overarching goals are and what you want out of life. Or perhaps you're very happy in your job and you've been there like me. We can connect. You know what I'm going through. We've all been there. And at the end of the day, know that taking the moments that you have faced hardship and embracing those and being open about them and sharing those experiences with people only A, makes you a stronger person, and B, allows you to connect with people on a much deeper level. And at the end of the day, know that those hardships you face, when you embrace those and you vocalize them, whether that's to friends or family members or complete strangers like I'm doing right now with all of you, it not only makes you a stronger person, but other people are able to connect with you on a much deeper level. And therefore, you form even better relationships with those around you, because everyone at some point in their life has gone through something. It may be directly aligned with what you went through. It may not, but we as human beings love connective points. We love relatability, and we crave that more now than ever. So remember that. And if no one's told you yet today, you can do this. You got it. Whatever obstacle is set in your path right now, push it aside. Stomp on it, jump over it, whatever you gotta do. I believe in you. And today is the day that you're going to start working towards that goal. Don't worry about the time, because in the duration that it'll take for you to get there, it'll pass. Focus on the small goals, one step at a time, and that overarching